Deputy Noel Grealish, please.
Taoiseach, last week the Rural Independent Group brought a motion before this House regarding the high cost of motor insurance, and today I want to raise an issue of equal importance: the spiraling cost of business insurance. While Brexit is probably the #1 issue of concern at the moment, the cost of insurance affects every single Irish business, from a small shopkeeper to a large exporter. In fact, many small businesses tell me that this is the #1 issue that is likely to force the closure of their business in the next 2 years, affecting their viability and ability to grow and expand. While I welcome the establishment of the Cost of Insurance Working Group and the publication of their report, the simple fact is action is not happening quickly enough, and many businesses across this country will close before there is real reduction in insurance premiums unless the government takes decisive action now. Last week I listened to Michael Magner, owner of the Vienna Woods Hotel in Cork, who is also chairman of the Insurance Committee of the Irish Hotels Federation. He was interviewed on the Sean O'Rourke show, when he said his own insurance costs had risen from €10,000 in 2006 to €86,000 in 2016 and a staggering €156,000 last year. Taoiseach, in my own constituency, McCambridge's, one of the longest established businesses in Galway City, has seen their total insurance bill rocket from €20,000 in 2015, €50,000 in 2016 and then to €102,000 in 2017. These are just two examples. I could list hundreds of horror stories. Taoiseach, no business can sustain this. Such is the concern that the Alliance for Insurance Reform relaunched in January after a decade and a half to represent businesses, community and voluntary organisations amid concerns that the spiralling costs of cover is causing firms like shops and pubs to go out of business. This group is headed up by Pat McDonough of Supermax, who has long been critical of the compo culture which is to blame for much of the rising costs. He has used CCTV in his own business to try and reduce the number of fraudulent claims, but he is still frustrated by the fact that claims are often settled by insurance companies without consultation, which in turn is encouraging others. Taoiseach, the number of diversity businesses and voluntary organisations who have joined the Alliance of Insurance Reform since their relaunch is a clear indication of the level of concern amongst business owners about this issue. They are calling for an urgent response from the Government to address the level of awards and the effective bypassing of the Personal Injuries Assessment Board as a means for dealing with claims. They want to prevent exaggerated and misleading claims being pursued and settled, and real transparency on how premiums are calculated, including information on how and why claims are settled. Taoiseach, my question to you is, can you outline exactly what clear and decisive action is being taken right now by your government to address this issue, which is affecting the viability of so many businesses and voluntary groups across the country?
Taoiseach.
I want to thank the Deputy for raising this really important issue, and I'm very conscious of the impact that the cost of insurance and the rising cost of insurance is having on individuals, but also and in particular businesses across our country, and the enormous cost burden that can be applied from insurance. In recognition of the increase in the cost of insurance seen to motorists and businesses in recent years, a cost of insurance working group was established under the chairmanship of Michael Darcy. It examined the factors that led to increases in the costs of both motor insurance and insurance for business. In relation to businesses specifically, the working group examined employer liability and public liability insurance areas, as these represent significant business lines which have been identified by a range of business sectors as having increased disproportionately in cost in recent years. Work to implement the recommendations of these reports is now advanced and is well underway, and it's hoped that the implementation of the recommendations will lead to greater stability in the pricing of insurance for both motorists and businesses. However, we must remember that neither the Minister of Finance nor the Central Bank can interfere in the provision of pricing of insurance products. This is a private market, and as these matters are of a commercial nature and are determined by insurance companies, they have to be based on assessment of the risks that they are willing to accept.
Deputy Grealish.
Thanks for your response. Taoiseach, the Alliance for Insurance Reform relaunched in January and bring together 20 civic and business organisations from across Ireland. They represent 35,000 members, over 600,000 employees and 41,000 volunteers. This time around they are much more broadly based, taking in charities, festivals, sports organisations as well as small and medium enterprises. Taoiseach, the Alliance issued a statement today calling for a financial conduct authority to be established on a statutory basis to oversee the insurance industry, on the back of insurance company announcing massive profits. For example, last week FBD announcing profits of €45 million, and the RSA Insurance Ireland announced profits of €10 million. Directors of the Alliance, Peter Boland and Owen McCambridge, have called for this authority as there has been no meaningful reform of the insurance industry despite the Cost of Insurance Working Group being established over 18 months ago. Taoiseach, will you give a commitment that a statutory conduct authority will be established to protect the interests of policyholders and revert back to this House with a clear, meaningful change on insurance costs for businesses?
Deputy Taoiseach, to conclude, please.
I can't really give you a commitment to set up a new authority just here. I think it's often the solution in Ireland to set up a new authority. It doesn't always solve the underlying problem, but certainly they're a serious bunch of people that you're talking about, and we will take their proposals on board. And Mr Darcy has now invited them to come and meet with him to discuss the proposals they're making. And Mr Darcy is taking the lead on behalf of the government in reducing the cost of insurance for individuals, for homeowners, for people taking out car insurance, and also for business. And I welcome the fact that you raised this issue, and Mr Darcy will be very keen to meet them and to examine their proposals and see if we can make some progress on them.